Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Crafty Chemist Designs. How is everybody doing on this Sunday? It was a beautiful day here in Chicago. The kind of day you didn't have to wear your jacket even. Although I'm downstairs and I do have my fleece shirt on, my fleece jacket, because it is cold in my basement. So if you are on, say hello. Let me see, does it? I don't know if it seems a little blurry. Does it seem blurry to you? Or is it just my eyes? I don't know. I think that's a little bit better, but if it is blurry, let me know. My phone did take a tumble down the basement stairs, so I'm hoping it didn't do anything to the camera. I am going live from StreamYard on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. So let me click the go live on Instagram. There we go. Okay. Started to go live. Okay, so I hope everybody has had a nice day. Hi, Jean. How are you? I hope you had a good day today. We went over to Megan's and had brunch. And then I watched the kids this afternoon so Megan and Henry could go golfing. She needed a little mom time on her own. And the kids are really good for they're always really good for me, so hi mom. Oh gosh, I just clicked on something. So if there's a referral link in there, just ignore. Uh, I'm trying to get rid of there's this banner over all of the comments, so okay, again, I'm not trying to sell you on StreamYard. I was trying to click on mom's comment and it clicked on the link, so sorry. I do like the StreamYard. I'm not sure I'm going to keep it, but it does let me go live from multiple platforms at once, so I love that. Okay, I'll get started because I know some people are probably going to be with their moms on Mother's Day and can't watch the live. But if you're watching the replay, say hashtag replay so that I know that you are watching or that you've watched. Today, I am going to create this easel card. So this is a fun fold card. This is a card that you can make that people can set up on their, say, desk or their mantle. And it has a nice, scenic view. But you can put basically anything on the front here. I just thought when I saw this set and I saw the mountains, I was like, I want to make a easel card so that it looks like it looks like the mountains are standing up. And that's kind of why I'm doing an easel card. I know I've done an easel card before. I did an easel card in October with the cauldron. Remember the cauldron and the cat? Um, I might have done that for one of my the YouTube hop. I'm not sure if I did a live or not, but I just thought I'd do it again because I think this is a perfect one. But you don't have to do an easel card. You can just do a flat lay card like this. This is just, a regular A2 size card. Um, so you can do it either way, but I think if you're using the mountains, I think this easel part is really fun. Okay. I do have all of the supplies I used in a resource. So I'm going to post it there. So if you like any of the supplies that I use here, you can go ahead and um, find them. Okay, Darcy's jumped up on my chair. So if Darcy jumps up on the table and oh, here he goes. He's about ready to jump up onto the. What, Darcy? You went up on the table? Oh, goodness gracious. I didn't think Darcy, get down. Okay, craziness. He just wants to say Happy Mother's Day to everybody. Darcy, you can't be up here. I thought this table was going to be Darcy proof, but it is not. Okay, you can lay there. Lay down. Lay down. Okay. Oh, great. He wants to lay right here. In my old place, he could not jump up, but for some reason, put the chair here because I was sitting down while I was getting getting ready for the live, so I gave him the opportunity. Okay, so I am using this set. Hi, Diana. Darcy, lay down. Lay down. I am using this set called Scenic Adventures, and Scenic Adventure is no S, Scenic Adventure, and Darcy, honey, I'm gonna have to put you down if you can't behave. And I do have the bundle, so I have the stamp set and the dies. And this card that I'm making basically is using the dies, but you can make a card like this pretty much with just the stamp set. Although, truthfully, there's no mountains in the stamp set, so you could probably tear the paper to look like mountains, I guess. Okay, Darcy, you're gonna have to get down. You can stay here, but you gotta stay over there. Okay. So let's get started making this. Okay, since this is an easel card, you have to make it a top fold card, okay? If you're making it like a regular A2 size card, right, you can make it landscape or portrait, whichever that you want. Grandma's trying to lure Darcy away. Put him down. Go down to the chair. Okay. Come on, babes. Let's get down. I can't believe he got up there. Okay, Darcy's gone. So where was I? Okay, so I'm going to make this a top fold card, okay, because I'm going to do the easel. Okay, so to make a top fold card, you need to cut the cardstock long ways in the portrait orientation at 4¼ Okay. Oh, I cut that 4½ Let's cut it 4¼ Thought it looked a little wide. Okay, so this is 4¼ and you can see how it will be folded down. If you are making a regular A2 size card like this one, you actually cut the paper along the 5½ line across when it's laying landscape. So you start off a little bit different. Okay, and once you cut it at the 4 1/4, then we are going to score it at 5 1/2. Okay, and that's going to make the fold, the regular top fold. Okay, but we want to do we want it to be an easel card, so then I'm going to score this in half again. So if it's at 5 1/2, the halfway part would be 2 3/4. Okay. So let's use our bone folder to burnish this down a little bit. And then this one, you want to make it a mountain fold. And it's not just a mountain fold because we're going to put mountains on it, but that's what they call it when you fold it like this, fold it like a mountain. Okay? So now you can see what it's like. Okay? So that's basically how you make an easel card, is you just make a top folding card and then score the front piece in half, or I mean, really, you could score it. It doesn't have to necessarily be in half, but in half is a good place to score it. Okay, so the first thing that you want to do, since this is an easel card, I'm going to put this first piece on because even though it looks like it might go all the way down, um, you can see it kind of stops here. I mean, you could put it along the whole front and then score it, but it's behind all of this, so you really don't need that. So I'm going to cut this. Had to go get my ruler. I'm going to cut this at 4 inches and 2 1/2. I used some paper from the Meandering Meadows pack. Do you remember these papers that look kind of like this? But you can see that some of the papers have this beautiful cloud background, and so that's why I'm using these. So this is the one, I think this is the one that I used there. But there are, oh, maybe it was this one. This one's got a little bit more purples. So it just depends on what you want. But I'll use this one. There's also the Take to the Sky paper that had, like, this one doesn't have much of a sky, but the Take to the Sky collection, I think, had some sky, some cloud paper. So you probably have some kind of cloud paper in your stash. If you do not, that is okay, because on this one, I did not have any cloud paper, and I made some because one of the stamps in the stamp set is a cloud. So here I just used some, is this Balmy Blue? No, it's not Balmy Blue. Let's see, what color blue did I use? It's not super important, but I don't know. I wonder if that's a close to my heart paper. Or no, you know what? I think that's the new cloud cover. That's the new cloud cover paper from the 2025-2027 paper. Anyway, and then I just stamped on it with, I think I stamped on it with Night of Navy. So you can use paper like I did, or you can make your own paper. Okay. Okay, so what did I say? 4. Oh, I forgot 2 by 2 1/2, right? Yeah, 4 by 2 1/2. So let's cut this. 2.5 by 4. So this Meandering Meadows paper just keeps on giving, I believe. I've made so many amazing cards with these. Okay, so let's put this on the top. And I'm just centering it in that space. It's about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Okay. Now let's start on these pieces. These are all really just die cut pieces. So let me get my stamp cut and emboss machine. I think I put it here so you can see. Okay, there we go. And let's cut out the mountains first. And on this card, I made a darker gray mountain and then a lighter gray mountain. Okay. So here's a light gray. And then here's a darker gray. And these are, I think these are from the Neutrals pack. Neutrals, yeah, here we go. Okay, this is Smoky Slate, and Basic Gray. Smoky Slate and Basic Gray. Let me get the dies out. So the mountain die is, let's measure the mountain die. The mountain die is about 5¼ inches. So I'm going to cut my paper about 5¼ inches. And the reason is because it doesn't cut it all the way off, if you can see. So if you cut it out of something really long, it's going to be, you're not going to be able to, you have to cut the whole thing off. I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Okay, and then I want it to be about this tall. So it's at least, your piece should be at least 2 inches or so. So let's cut this about 2.5 inches. Okay. Now let's run this through. So we're going to put this down here. And I want the top of the peak of the mountain to be at the top of my paper. And then this will be how, kind of how tall my mountain is. Okay. So this is what I was talking about. Like if you don't have it, if you have the paper longer, it doesn't really help because it won't come off all the way. You're going to have to trim this off. The only time maybe I would make your paper longer is if you want to make like a mountain range. I guess you could do that. Okay. So here's my lighter color mountain. And now let's make the darker mountain. Here, this is the basic gray. I'm going to cut it 5 1/4 by 2 1/2 again. Okay, here's the darker color. Let's put this down. Again, I'm putting it like that, where the top of the mountain's at the top of the paper. And run it through. This card is very heavy on the die cutting. And for the mountains, you definitely have to have the die cuts because there are no mountain stamps. The other things we potentially could stamp on. Okay. Let me move this real quick. Now, what I did, you can see I wanted this to be a little bit offset so it looked like there was another mountain range in the background that was a little bit higher. So I kind of put it where I liked. And what I did is I took advantage of this, the second bump here. That's where I cut I made this as tall as I could to the point where this would still cover that. I don't know if that makes sense, but you can move it around, move it however you want it. I mean, you could just have it be like that, but I just wanted that one to kind of stick up in the background. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some adhesive on the back of this one to just kind of get it to stick where I want it. Although, okay, I did that wrong, so don't pay attention to me. I don't want the very top of it, which is what I just did. So let me erase that. As I was saying it, I was doing the wrong thing. You want to leave the top of it free of adhesive because you want it to, come up as an easel card. If you're just doing a regular card, then it doesn't matter. I'm going to put it down here like this. And then I'm going to put this how I like it. So maybe like that. Okay. I'm going to do it just like that. Okay. And I'm going to trim this off then. And actually, this is going to be 4 inches, so we will eventually cut this down to be 4 inches in a little bit. Okay, so I have this how I like it. Now let's work on the trees. So let's put this back. And there is a die that's just these trees. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Okay, so I'm using, this is Old Olive. That's the color, Old Olive. Okay, here's my Old Olive. And the Old Olive die is about the same. Let's do 5 1/4. And remember, you need it to be a little bit tall. You need it to extend down a little bit because you want something to adhere the next piece to. So this is about 1 inch tall. So we're going to make this, let's make it like 2 inches. Okay. So let's cut this at 2 inches. And then 5 1/4. Okay. And let's run that through the die cutting machine. Put that there. And make sure that the top of your die is at the top of that piece of paper. And run it through. And then look at that. Look how fun that is. And let's see, we'll just trim it off. And I like how it kind of looks like this is on a kind of a hill or something. I'm going to put this back. Okay, so this is going to go on top of here. Okay, I had it down a little bit so you could still see part of the mountains. I really like that these mountains have these like cut out pieces to show a little bit of dimension. Okay, so this one you can adhere all the way down because as you can see, it's totally on top of this mountain. So you don't have to worry about it accidentally sticking to the top of that. Okay, so let's adhere this down. And I'm going kind of along the trees. If you go this way, you could potentially rip your trees. I can go this way down here. And really, this is a little bit longer than what we need because we only need 4 inches across. But we're going to cut that in a little bit later. So I'm going to put it sort of like this. Okay, very nice. What are we thinking so far, guys? Okay, now this piece is like grasses. And this one, I am using Granny Apple Green. And this die. This die's only about 4 1/4. Okay. So I think I cut this one to the size from before, from this one. So let's cut this one, the bushes. Okay, put the Granny Apple Green here. Oh, I should have probably cut that down, but okay, put it here. I'm gonna have to trim that after we're done. Okay. Okay. Very cute. This one's got, I don't know if you can see, it's got some like grass looks. It's got a little bushes there. Another really cute one. There are some other dyes, like this one, I believe cuts these flowers. So we could cut this out. I did not on my, yeah, it goes here. Does it go there? Actually, no, it doesn't cut that out. This is its own grasses. You know what would be pretty is I didn't do this, but on this one it would have been pretty if I had made it in this like purple color, made it like thistles like in Scotland. That would have been really pretty. Maybe I'll do that. We'll see. Let's see. I'm going to cut this, and again, it needs to be at least I would say 1.5 inches tall because you want it to be under this a little bit. So let's make this like 1.5 inches tall. Okay. Now, since this piece is a little bit smaller, like not as wide, we need to really think about where we're going to place it. Maybe I'll cut my 4-inch um, piece now because I need to cut this 5.5-inch piece to 4 inches. So if I put this here like this, and then I end up cutting the 4 inches over here, right? Then I'm not gonna have any of the grass over here. So let's cut this to 4 inches where we like it, and then we can add this. So I think I obviously don't want this part because you see how the lines of the mountain, there's nothing here. So I kind of want that off. So I'm going to cut it around in here. Let's see. And I'm going to try and cut it between these two pieces here. Okay. I mean, I might end up cutting it farther than that, but, and then where would 4 inches be on here if I cut it right there? Okay. Then it's going to cut about right about there. I'm okay with that. What do you think? Okay. Then cut all the way through because it is several layers. So you're going to have to watch. Okay. There we go. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. And now we can center this where we like. So something like that. Okay, let's adhere the back of this, and then maybe I'll take the time to cut out. And I don't know how that's gonna look, so if I do it like this, I could put, I want to be able to cut some of that off though. Okay. And we do want to be cognizant about how tall we can make it. Okay. One thing I can see here is where I cut this piece is sticking up. So let's see if we can put a little bit of adhesive there to hold it down. Okay. Okay, so let's trim this. And the back doesn't matter what it looks like. There we go. You could cut this with your um, scissors too, if you want. It's not that much. In fact, this one, it'd probably be better to cut with my scissors. There we go. Because it's so, took off so little. Should we try to see? I haven't used that dye yet. I haven't used this one. So let's try this one and see if we can add something. Add something right here. And this purple is pretty. Let's see. I think that is, Highland Heather or Fresh Freesia. Let's see if I have that. Let me get it real quick. Okay, I've got some. I think this is Fresh Freesia. What did I do with that dye now? Oh, here it is. This is big enough. So let's cut this about an inch. I don't know what this is going to look like. So we're just doing this on the fly because I just kind of noticed this one. Okay. Let's take our Fresh Freesia. Cut this out. We'll obviously have to trim this up a little bit. Kind of looks like it could just be a little, oh, yeah, that looks cute. The Highland Heather, it could be like true Highland Heather in Scotland. That's about what it's like. It just kind of like a little bushy, it sticks up. Let's see if we can put that on there, what it's like. Okay, let's see. Trim it there. And this part's going to stick underneath, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, I don't know. Do we like it there or? I could have put it behind too. I got that down pretty good, so. I don't know. I kind of really think I would rather have it behind this. Let's see if we can get it behind this. Kind of just poking up. What do we think? Would I bother trying to? There we go. I'm not sure. What do you guys? Do you guys like that or not? It kind of does break up the color a little bit. Maybe I'll put it there. I'll put it there a little bit. Give it a little bit of color. It would have really looked pretty with this sky. There we go. Okay. You could make that a different green too if you want. Now the last piece that we need is the water. I made this look like a lake. So I am going to use, this is Misty Moonlight. So I'm going to use the Misty Moonlight. We need to cut this a little bit to 4 inches. Or did I just put that on crooked? I feel like I just put that on. Okay. So let's cut this to 4 inches. And then really we are only going to have about, I'm going to trim this. See how this little corner's peeking out? I'm going to trim that. If we want this to stick up about this much, we only have about, oh, I feel like I didn't do a very good job cutting that. It's a little bit short. Let's see if I have enough. Okay, let's make this a little bit wider than 4. You know what? I'm gonna do this whole thing and then trim it afterwards. That way I don't risk being short again. Okay, so what did I do on this one? There is a stamp here that looks like water. So I'm going to use that. So I did that on this one. That's all stamped. So I used the regular, cardstock and then stamped it. Okay, so I'm going to do that here with some Misty Moonlight. However, there is a die that you can use with the die set that makes it look like the water is running. Okay, so you can compare the two. This one, I don't know if you can see. Can you see? Can you see the I tore the paper up here, but down here is where the water is. You can kind of see a little bit. Okay. You can see it better with the stamp. So I'm going to use Misty Moonlight. And then I just random stamped all over this paper. And let's see, we probably don't need to do the whole paper. Let's cut this in half. At least a couple inches off. I'll cut that much off. Okay, so let's random stamp this. And I really think that however they designed this stamp pad, I feel like it really looks like water. I mean, there's a lot of movement in it. And then you can, overlap. So I did kind of go up a little bit so that it's overlapped. So I'm just doing tone on tone. This is Misty Moonlight. Let me get this. This is Misty Moonlight cardstock, and then I'm using Misty Moonlight ink. I'm going to use a scrap paper because I'm stamping off, and I don't want that to get on my mat, because then it'll get on everything. Okay, just a couple more rows. So you could either run this through the die cutting machine a few times with the water dye or stamp it. And the same thing with the trees. Now there aren't a row of trees like, like this, but there are all of these trees that you could stamp and do something similar. Okay, I think one more and we'll have it. Okay. That was easy. Let me clean off the stamp. Put it away. Now on this one, I did tear it. I used two-tone white core paper. This is one-tone solid core. So we're not going to get the white edge like we did on that one. Okay, it's going to look more like this one where I did tear it. You can't really see, but that is torn because it's solid core. Okay, so here we go. This is a little bit sticky up here. I want to take that off because there we go. So the thing is that I want this to overhang the fold a little bit, right? We want it to be kind of like, like this to stand up. So really we only need about 3/4 of an inch or so there. So let's make this. Let me make sure I had it. Yeah, about 3/4 of an inch there. Let's cut it at 1 inch right now so that I don't overcut it. Okay, so now I'm going to put this down how I like it, and then we'll trim it up. Okay, so I'm just going to tape, right, put adhesive at the bottom of here. This is why you always need a little bit of ledge on the one that's, this layer for the next layer to adhere to. So kind of like that is what I'm looking for. Okay, very nice. Now let's trim that up. I'm going to trim the sides, and then we'll decide on the height of it. There we go. Okay, remember we want this to have a little bit of the Night of Navy showing. And actually, I think that's perfect just how it is. I think we cut it perfectly. The one thing is you want this to cover up the fold and kind of that exposure there of the Night of Navy. So you want it high enough. See, I'll show it close enough. You want the top of this piece to at least cover up that. So you want it to be like that. Okay, so I think this is cut perfectly fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to maybe put my adhesive on here, making sure I don't put it on the edges because that's going to be showing. And then this allows me to be able to put this exactly where I want it without worrying about getting adhesive, up here. Okay, there we go. So you can see on this one, I don't know, I have it about the same. I have a little bit more of the hills showing. So I have this all kind of up a little bit more than I do here. So everyone's going to be different. On this one, what I did is I didn't use this green layer. I just put the water here, and then I used some kind of sand color. This is pecan pie to make like a beach or the ground with my campfire on it. So because I wanted the campfire to be on the front of the card. Here, the campfire is underneath, and so I just had the water here. You could have added some, if you don't want water, you could put the brown for the ground there if you want. But what happened once I did this as an easel card, I realized if this was just white, it looked kind of funny to have the bonfire just on the white base because you do want a white base here so you can stamp on it. So what I did is I put this, and this is the back of actually this. Um, so here's the meandering meadow piece that we used, and then the back of it, oh, that's this one. But you can see they all kind of look like that. I thought I had a piece here. Here we go. Okay, here's the piece actually that I tore from here. Okay, so let's do the inside. Um, this part. I'm going to start with the white. So I do want a white base so that I could stamp on it because obviously it's not easy to stamp on here unless you stamp with embossing powder, and make it like emboss it white or something. But you generally want a white on the inside. So I'm going to cut this at 4 by 5 1/4 and put it on the inside. Okay, let's adhere this down. And then I'm just centering it on the inside there. I don't know if you can see, it's kind of centered there. Okay, and then I just put this, it's about halfway down. I left enough room to stamp and to sign. So I'm going to use the same piece and just kind of tear it where it is. I'm not a great tearer. I always feel like I get these peaks. I did pretty good on this one though. Okay. And now I'm just going to adhere this one down. You don't have to do this, or you could make it a light. I think the pecan pie, I think this one would maybe be a little bit too dark, but you could maybe use that one. And then you wouldn't have to worry about putting this grass there, but I just felt like it didn't make sense to have the fire. And that's what I'm using as it for an easel card, you need something to stop. All right, you need something to hold the card up, and I'm using the campfire. So if it had been just white, that wouldn't have looked very, very good. Okay, so before we put this 3D element on here, why don't we do our stamping? It'll be easier to stamp that way. So here I did let the adventure begin. Let's see what we could do. This You're Amazing is nice, but I don't think that there's enough room. Well, actually on this one there might be enough room, but I think I'm going to do, let's see. This one I did let the adventure begin. Let's do let the journey begin. And that's actually a 2-step stamp. So let's do journey. And I'm going to start with the journey because this one I started with let the begin because that's one piece and it was a little bit hard to center that. So let's start with this one and then maybe it'll be easier to center the let the begin. Okay, I'm using black here. And make sure you leave room for the let the begin. And I want us to be straight. So Okay. Journey. Okay, and then let the, you see how this is one stamp that is, has that space in between. Okay, let's see if I can center this pretty well here. Actually, Journey is a little bit easier than Adventure because Adventure had the D and the T you had to work around. So this one, Journey's a little bit, I probably could have started with this one with Journey. Let the journey begin. And then what should we put on the inside? On this one, I put cheers to another journey. Let the adventure begin. Cheers to another journey. On this one, I think I'm going to put can't wait to see you again. Well, will it go? Hopefully it'll fit. I don't know if it'll fit across there. It does fit. I need a bigger block or longer block. Okay, let's see. Okay. Okay. Oops, wrong side. Okay, let's see. It's gonna fit. Pretty good. I kind of overstamped right there, but that's okay. Okay, and now all we have to do is make a stop here. And I thought it would be cute to make the little campfire. So let's cut those out. Let's see. This is actually Mocha from Close to My Heart. I really like that color, and I don't know, I have it here, so. I wanted it to be a little bit different. See here, Mocha, and then I had the pecan pie. So let's get the dye. Here, it's so cute, these little logs. Okay, so I got the little log. And pop this out a little bit. There we go. It's cute. And again, it's got all of the little like shapes out of it. The little lines to make it look kind of 3D. Okay, and then the flame. I'm really loving the Stampin' Up! Dies. I don't know if you can tell, but I've done a lot of cards where we're using, these dies. I think a couple weeks ago I did a card, mostly dies. And then of course my Christmas card was mostly dies. Okay, here, I don't know. This might be Sundance from Close to My Heart. I'm not sure. Look at this. So cute, this flame. Okay, let me put this away so I don't lose this because these are little. You probably could put the flowers there. That might work, but okay, so what I did for this one is to get it to stick, I just used some adhesive right at the bottom. There we go. And then stuck this on. I didn't want it to be too high because you want some of the flame to be showing. And if you get any any stickiness, you can use your eraser to get it off. Okay. Now on this one, I did use my dauber with a little like nectarine orange there to make it kind of two-toned. So let's see. So here's some nectarine. I'm not even going to ink it up. I'm just going to go right over. So whatever ink's on there. And it gives it a little bit more like a yellow and an orange tone. You don't have to do that. Okay. And so when you're making easel card, you want something to hold it up like that so it will stand up. And so it needs to be popped up. So I'm going to put a dimensional on there. Let's see if a regular size dimensional will fit. It might be too big. Yeah, the regular size is too big. So let's get a mini dimensional here. Maybe I'll put I think I'm gonna put one right there. Perfect, perfect size. Now where you put it depends. I'll show you what it looks like. If you put it right here, down low, it's not going to stand up as much. If you put it up like this, right, it's gonna stand up really high. So, just put it someplace like this. Okay, so it will stand up like that. Okay, you can put, I didn't do it on this one, but say like I had put thanks a lot down here and put this on a, um, dimensionals or something, then that could be used to hold it up. Whatever you want, any kind of item, as long as it's there, and popped up a little bit to hold your card up, the dimensional part. And you can see why I really love it, because on your desk it looks like this. Isn't that cute? And you could put something even here, but I felt if I stamped something there that it would kind of ruin the illusion that this is a nice scene. You know what I mean? So, okay, there is my easel card. Oh, you know what? Wait, before I do that, I did bring, on this one I put these gems, and this is the transparent adhesive backed dots. I think this was with the To Market set. And these ones are clear, I think. I don't know. So, I kind of like that. I just put a couple here just to give it a little bit of something because there was some blank space there. And remember, when you put your gems on, always do not in odd numbers. So there we go. What do we think? Again, you can do easel cards with about, anything. You can even just put another like rectangle. I'll just show you what I'm talking about quickly. I'm not going to make one, but I'll show you what I'm I'll just use this paper as a guide. I mean, it doesn't have to be something fun to stick up like this. It can just be the front of your card. So, okay, so say I have it like that, and this was a little bit big, but I think you get the point. You could just have this right on your card front, and then if you make the easel card, this part would stand up. So what, you know, whatever your sentiment or your design or whatever could stand up, right? So when it's down like this, it could look like just a regular card front, but then they could have this standing up. So it doesn't have to be a scene like this. It can just be something very basic like this. Okay, but I thought when I saw these mountains, that's all that I could think of was let's make this an easel card. Okay, next week I am going to make a scrapbook layout using this collection. I don't have the sample make. This was a super busy week for me. Tuesday I did the catalog walkthrough. So if you haven't watched if you didn't watch a catalog walkthrough live, it is on YouTube. You can see the catalog walkthrough. So that was Tuesday. Wednesday night I had a quilt guild meeting. Thursday night I had my in-person kit together where we made some of the Stampin' Up! Kits. And then Friday night I did the paper pumpkin. If you guys missed the paper pumpkin from this past month, look at these. These are the paper pumpkin cards. Look how gorgeous these are. These are amazing. These are my favorite paper pumpkin cards so far. I love these. And it's got some gold. I don't know if you can see the gold on there. This is what I made Friday. Also today my YouTube video dropped on YouTube, and these were the cards I made. This is using that technique where you, let's see if I can make it, I don't know if I'll be able to match them up, but you stamp these on one card. Let's see. I don't know if I'll be able to. Wow, it's like a puzzle. Okay, maybe I don't know, guys. It's hard to figure it out, but you get the point. It was like I think it's like this. Okay. It's not exactly, but you stamp down the middle and then across the middle, and then you cut the paper, and then you have 4 cards that you can make from it. So I'll show you how to do that in my latest YouTube video. Okay, and I'm calling this a SIP card. If you know what a SIP card is, it's stamp, ink, paper. That's all, and that's all I did: stamp, ink, and paper. I did throw on some of these dots. I don't know if that is allowed, but I did because I wanted them on there. But okay, so go check out my YouTube video about these. Those just dropped today. And if you're not already signed up, I'm having my National Scrapbooking Month event. It's a virtual crop party from 1 to 9. It's free. We're just it's basically an open crop. I will have some games. I'll have a sketch challenge and a couple games. And there will be some prizes. So I hope you enjoyed this kit, these cards. I really, really like this bundle. It actually, we were allowed to purchase items while we were at convention, and this was the first thing I ordered. I only ordered 2 things, this and I ordered the gallery paper. So this was literally the first thing I ordered out of the catalog because I really loved it. And I knew my daughter lives out in Pacific Northwest. This reminds me of um her, and I thought I could, send some cards to her. So, okay. I will see you next week, where I make a scrapbook layout out of these. Okay. Thanks for joining. Bye.